Hello. I wasn't originally going to make a video today. Actually, I was, and then I realized I had too much to do. But now I'm sitting down and making this video because I'm realizing I'm very anxious about all I have to do. And I thought how perfect I can talk about how anxious I am and my perfectionism. So here we are. I'm talking about my perfectionism today. This is going to sound so conceited, but I feel like this is very important to talk about. When you're young and you're a fast learner, a lot of people start to compliment you and talk about your future. They were you have such a bright future ahead of you, you're so gifted. And some schools even had the gifted program or whatever, where they select kids and then take them out of the classroom just so you could work on more advanced math or something, problem solving skills. I remember they would take us out and take maybe 3 kids out of my class, including me, and we would go, and then they'd make us do these weird puzzles. Yeah, so basically when you're young and you just happen to be a fast learner, either because of your environment, because of genetics, whatever, there are so many, adults are so quick to push everything onto you and go, you have such a bright future. What do you want to be? Do you want to be a doctor? I remember one lady, she was a doctor. She sat me down and she was like, you have to promise me you're going to be a doctor. There were so many instances like that, I feel. And you don't even have to be that smart to experience this or something. But I'm just describing something that happens to a lot of people. So I'm sorry if I sound conceited. I'm sorry if I don't know, whatever. Whatever. Take this as you will. The people who are burnt out and who used to be very good at something and are now burnt out because of it will know what I'm talking about. So if you're getting offended by this, then you probably weren't meant to relate to this episode of perfectionism and I don't know, everything I'm talking about. But yeah, I feel that is the perfect path. That is the perfect recipe to making a child a perfectionist. That is the worst thing I feel you could possibly do, to put a kid and literally discriminate them from other groups and say, you're smarter than these people, so we're going to... My cat is scratching, I'm sorry. He wants food, but he already got fed, so... I'll be right back. This isn't even my cat. This is my friend's cat, but I'm just going to hold him here because he will continue to scratch things. He's very old, but everyone meets Susu. Basically, recipe for disaster. You put a kid into, you basically segregate the kids, tell one group, by the way, you're better than everyone else. So we're going to make you drill harder math problems and harder reading problems just so you stay better than everyone else. I don't understand. If you're that gifted, then they should either allow you to skip a grade, make it so the kid has a bit of humility, right? Does that make sense? I felt smarter than everyone else, genuinely. And I know the other kids in that class felt smarter than everyone else. And it's you couldn't even help it. I feel horrible saying that now because I have I have shame now. But when you're a kid, you don't really have shame. And all the teachers were kind of pushing that onto you. Yeah, I think that set this precedent of you have to excel at everything you do because people already expect you to. I was already so wrong on so many levels. I hope the school system has changed some since I was in elementary school, but I don't know if it has, honestly. So could you please move, please? Move. Oh, sorry. So now I think that continued, and then until COVID hit. And then once COVID hit, for me, a lot of people say that school actually got harder for them. For me, it got easier because my school was there was no online meeting attendance requirement or anything. So you could literally just skip class. And even if you did attend, it was only, I think it was 10 or 20 minutes per class. No, it was 30 minutes per class. per day that you were required to attend. No. You're required to attend 30 minutes per class a day. And you have like 4 or 5 classes a day. I don't remember that well. So that's like 2 hours of class a day. And there were no like test monitoring things for some reason. I don't know why. They had like nothing in place. So you could basically cheat on everything. And I didn't cheat on anything. At least not from what I remember. But also it was very easy to, so it wasn't just me. Like a lot of people got good grades that year because of that. And also they like dumbed down the material because they knew that they were only getting 30 minutes a day. So it was just like very slow learning. So obviously I got like all A's. I think that kind of set this expectation of like, I can get all A's very easily. Then high school hits. First year I try very hard. I move again, by the way. At this point I lived in like 4 different places. You may be thinking like this is kind of irrelevant. This is actually completely irrelevant. What even is the point that I'm trying to make? And then I moved to a school that puts high importance on how well you do, and rigor, very academically rigorous school. Not like that, it's a public school. Not that academically rigorous compared to like some of these insane private schools, like, I don't know, Phillips Exeter or something. You know, not like crazy private school rigor, but like, you know, it's a good public high school. And so people want to do well. And I think that like completely killed me. I don't know. I think it was the accumulation of all of this, just like doing well my whole life. The point is, I did well basically my whole life up until high school. And I think high school just completely killed me because of this year, I would like load so much onto my plate because I had the ability to take harder classes. So I would take a bunch of harder classes. And then simply like the workload was too much. It wasn't even like I wasn't capable of understanding the material. It's just like, you know, they're all decently hard, but they're like 6 classes. So obviously I'm going to like struggle. And I just kept doing it, and eventually I started like missing 1 assignment. I missed 2 assignments, like my senior year. And then when I missed assignments, I felt ashamed, and I didn't want to go to school the next day so I could work on the assignment. So I didn't have to face class without having the assignment done, which is a completely messed up perspective, I know. But when you're a perfectionist, like, you don't understand that it's better to show up with nothing than to not show up at all. Like, I would have rather not shown up at all, which is what I did. I just didn't show up. And again, that was a really long, convoluted way of saying like the age-old expression. What is it? Like, do it poorly, then not do it at all. I just wouldn't do anything at all. So that made me extremely depressed. I would just not do anything. I would sit there and I wouldn't do anything. I missed so much school. I missed like a month and a half of school my junior year. And people were genuinely worried about me, as they should be, because I didn't even like say anything. It wasn't even just because of my perfectionism. I had a lot going on outside of that like also contributed to me feeling unmotivated about everything. And to the point where like the truancy officer came to my house a few times, and like I felt so ashamed to face my teachers, because my teachers all knew. They knew that I wasn't dumb. That's the thing. I'm not dumb. My teachers know I'm not done. I didn't want to do anything. I didn't see the point. And yeah, that was like the other side of it. To begin with, I had like goals. Like I had subjects I liked and I wanted to like pursue them, but I didn't really have concrete like, what is this all for, like direction, you know what I mean? Like some people spend their entire lives wanting to be a doctor. Like there was none of that for me. And some people had like sports as a motivation, like, oh, if I don't get good grades, I get kicked off the team or something. Like I had no motivation to get good grades, really. The field that I wanted to go into, I was just like, it's like whatever. I remember my truancy getting so bad to the point where I would go to like this one urgent care center because the school required notes from like a doctor for my missed school. And I was like definitely faking sick like a lot of the time. But actually, I will say I do have a really bad immune system and I do actually get sick a lot, but a lot of the time here, like in this era of my life, I wasn't actually sick. And I would go to this urgent care center and there was this one lady and this one doctor and she knew me. She knew me as the girl who came because she was faking sick. And like, I feel like she could just tell because my mom was like, the school wants to know. And she was like, oh, your sinuses are all clear. Yeah, because there's nothing going on with my sinuses. So yes, now it is finals week. I'm at community college because of everything that transpired in the past year. 2025 was a crazy year for me. That was like 20 minutes of context for you. But I've been trying to teach myself that it's like just show up and have it not done. Like it's okay to just show up. It's okay to just show up and not have anything done. Crazy, I know, but like it actually is crazy to me. Like even just saying that makes my skin crawl because I don't like doing that. Like I don't like just showing up and having to say, like having to admit that I didn't do something or I wasn't prepared. Like I don't like that. That's really bad for me. And same thing with like assignments. Like I won't start anything. I just won't start assignments unless I know that I have enough time to do it perfectly. Otherwise, I won't do it at all. That's like the point to which my perfectionism has evolved or devolved, depending on the way you look at it. Ow. Yeah, so I won't do assignments. And that was my issue. That because I started working a job that requires a lot of training just because it's like a complicated job. It's not a simple job. You actually have to like know what you're doing for this job. But the thing is, like they started me off just putting in all of the information that I needed to do, even if it wasn't in the right place, just put it in to like the software that we use. I'm trying to be vague on purpose because I don't want to like disclose what I do or where I do it, but like, you know, and that I think somehow like altered my brain chemistry. I just need to, it's better to put in the information and edit it later or explain it later than to not have any record of it at all. Because that's literally like my job. My job has a lot to do with keeping records. So that, I think, really changed my thinking, just like across the board. Your fur is so matted. So I started doing that with basically my entire life. Like with starting this YouTube channel, I know that my videos aren't very good. Like they're not very engaging and they're not very well edited and they're not very like put together. They're not very organized, obviously. I don't really have a concrete plan of what I'm going to talk about other than like a vague topic like perfectionism. Today I was like, I'm gonna sit down and make a video about perfectionism, and now I'm just blabbing, which makes the video run on and on, but I don't care because at least I'm doing it. yeah, I feel like this applies to so many areas of your life, like you wouldn't even expect. Example, me doing my makeup in the morning. I notice, for me, it's very important that I do my makeup in the morning, at least something. It doesn't matter what it is, I need to do something, even if it's like a dot of concealer, because it's like, it sounds so corny, but it's almost symbolic because it makes me feel like I'm pretty and put together. It doesn't matter what I do or how long I take to do it. Even just putting one dot of concealer on my face to cover one blemish is significant to me because it makes me feel that much better about myself. And then, and I have a habit of not running late, but running dangerously on time. Like, I will either get there on time or like 1 minute after, because I like calculate down to the minute when I should leave my house to get there exactly on time. And like, even when I wake up, when I set my alarms, I'm calculating a time to wake up for when I get to work exactly on time. Like, I plot it out so I get the maximum amount of sleep. So basically, I don't get up any earlier than I need to. There is exactly the amount of time I need to sufficiently get ready and go to work between waking up and arriving at work. Which means that a lot of the time I'm in a rush because there's just barely enough time for everything. Does this make sense? I don't know if this makes any sense or this is relatable to anyone, but like, this is what I do. Like, I feel like this happens like to people who just love their sleep and who are not morning people. I feel like this is relatable because it's like, you need to get somewhere on time, like school, work, whatever. But you want the maximum amount of sleep because you don't want to be a morning person. You skip breakfast, you skip all the steps. You just need the minimum necessary to get there on time. That's like what I do, okay? Every morning I'm dangerously on time. Even just doing, and makeup is like a step that I often end up skipping because I'm often so dangerously on time. I live like 5 minutes away from my job. If it's 8:55 and I need to be there by 9, am I going to do that dot of concealer? No. But I started realizing it's better to do it poorly than to not do it at all. Because before, I used to be like, I don't have time to do my eyeliner, my blush, my eyebrows, like everything. Now I calculated the minimum amount necessary to feel pretty, which is concealer and mascara. That is the minimum amount necessary. So no matter what now, I have to do it. Like, even if it's poorly, even if it takes 2 minutes and I'm just like doing one dot of concealer under each eye and then quickly swiping my mascara on, that will make me feel so much better than not doing it at all. And even though like it looks a little bit of a mess, like maybe my mascara is extra clumpy or like, I didn't put the concealer in the right spot, it still makes me feel a lot better than when I don't do it. So I don't know, that's kind of a poor example because it doesn't really take that much effort to put on makeup, but like, I feel like that's just like one way that I make sure that I'm doing things. I've said this in other videos, like all of my friends are in college right now. I have to it's very hard for me to be productive on days I don't have work, or even especially on days I do have work. But on days I don't have work, it means I have like no structure basically. That's why I've been like trying to find hobbies like making videos or like watching a new show or something. Even watching a new show is a good example of this that I've realized. Like, I would never start shows. I'm not a show person because of the intimidation factor. Like, I get so intimidated by the length of a show that I just won't start it at all. And then I miss out on what could be a great show. Or, I don't know. And then instead, I just like lay in my bed scrolling and killing time instead of watching something that I would actually enjoy. I just consume like meaningless media instead of something substantial just because I'm intimidated by it. Does it make sense? So then I started practicing like, okay, even like during the week when I have like a lot of studying to get done, I'll just play a show in the background or play a video that I like wanted to watch on the weekend in the background, because it's better to like half-ass it and just have it in my peripheral peripheral than to not like have it be playing at all, because this is like a really weird concept that I feel like I can't articulate fully, and maybe it's too specific, or maybe it's not specific enough. I don't know. It's kind of hard to it's like, if you get it, you get it, and if you don't, you don't. Another thing that I want to mention, like in terms of perfectionism and how you can help cure perfectionism, and what I've been doing, is to pay less attention to the amount of time that it takes to do things. Related to the last point, but not completely the same. Like, if you're also a chronic procrastinator like me, you'll start to stress about how little time you have, and then that'll prevent you from doing other things that could be valuable just because you're running late on one thing. Like tonight, I have an assignment due. If I didn't like start having this mindset, I probably would just be scrolling, procrastinating, like scrolling in front of an open laptop set to do the assignment, because I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna like scroll and like relax my brain for a little bit before I start. And then I just never end up starting, or start like 20 minutes later. Disclaimer, this may not be completely healthy and right for you. I should add that, because like please, are we serious? Are we serious right now? Okay, I'm actually going to explain now. Disclaimer, this may not work for you. And this may just be delusion, and maybe you'll get like 10 missed assignments because of me. But I stopped worrying about like the deadline, and just being like, you know, if it weren't tonight, like what would I be doing to like relax myself and like still be productive while knowing that I need to do this thing, if that makes sense. So like, I'm filming this video. I don't actually have a deadline tonight. I have a deadline tomorrow, but I should realistically be doing work right now. But I don't want to think about that. I don't want to think about the time I have. I don't want to think about like the little time I have. I don't want to be thinking about like all the work that I have to be doing. And I'm just going to live normally. I'm going to do what I want to do, that I feel motivated to do, that'll make me feel good when I go to do the work. So if it means, yeah, so, and that to me, like, I just want to talk to a camera for a little bit before I do my work. And I know I need to do my work, but I don't care, because this will make me feel better about doing my work when I go to do it. Scrolling, however, will not. Do not use this as an excuse to scroll. Does this idea make any sense? Perhaps I need to be more structured. But I'm also just filming this for myself, so I don't really care if it's structured, but like, future me rewatching will know what I'm talking about in this video, and that's like all that really matters. So yes, there's that. I feel so bad. He has dementia, and his fur is like matted because he keeps forgetting to clean it. No, please. Usually I don't let him sit on me, because he got poop on me a few times because he has digestive issues. Maybe I'm oversharing about this cat. I'm sorry, this cat that isn't even mine. I'm sorry if you're the owner of the cat. You know who you are. Sorry. Sorry for sharing about your cat. He got like poop on me, and then I was like, no, never again. Except now I feel bad. And he keeps meowing, and I'm not just gonna let him keep meowing in the background and scratching at the food drawer. I think just the concept of doing it poorly instead of not doing it at all applies in so many different situations. I know people who are like, who don't want to respond to messages, or who like just procrastinate non-academic things as well. Just like, because out of fear that they won't do it correctly or something. And I think it's valid, because like I said, like as a perfectionist, I know exactly how that feels. I do. I really do. But like, you can't just put your life on hold forever. You know what I mean? Like, this is basically what your life is. Like, your life doesn't start when you start being perfect. You know what I mean? Your life is now. I think that may sound obvious to so many people. That is not obvious to me. I failed to understand that for the longest time. It was always like, I was always looking forward to the future. I was being like, when I get my grades together, when I finally clear up my skin, when I finally like learn how to do this, when I finally get that job, when I finally get that car. Like, it's always like I'm looking forward to something ahead of time. But the concept I'm trying to explain to you is like, your life doesn't start when you're doing things well. It's already happening. So like, it doesn't matter whether you do it well. You know, you might as well just enjoy it now. It sounds so obvious, right? It's not. It is not obvious to a lot of people. To me, it is not obvious. Like, if you fail that test because you showed up to class after not doing something, just be like, that is a part of life. That is a part of life. That phrase has saved me so many times. The phrase, that is a part of life. Like, I just tell myself that all the time now. Car breaks down, that is a part of life. Key broke, that is a part of life. Like, I can't waste my time thinking, oh, my life will start like once I fix my car, once I fix my key. It won't. It's not like that. Like, this is it. Like, you have to fix your mistakes. You can't just run away from them. And it's not even a mistake. It's just, like I said, a part of life. Like, not doing your work sometimes, not showing up to class sometimes, that's just normal. That is just normal behavior. That is not abnormal. That does not mean you're a loser. It's just like, you either didn't do an assignment because you didn't do an assignment. Everyone says like failure is okay. But when it comes down to it and you examine your own life and you reflect, you refused to do a lot of things because you were scared to fail, no matter how small. Like, even very, very small. Like, you didn't doodle in class because you wanted to pay attention. Does that make sense? Like, does that make sense? It's okay to doodle. Like, it's a part of life to doodle. You miss a few words that the professor is saying because you were doodling. So what? Like, that's normal. You were doodling. Like, that's what happens when you doodle. And now you have a doodle and you like your doodle. And that brought you joy. This is perhaps not relatable for you at all. In which case, I'm not sorry. Because then you're very lucky. But to me, this is how I feel. And it is very hard for me a lot of the time to just accept that this is what my life is. And that I can do things out of just like this trajectory of efficiency in like reaching my goal, and sometimes you just show up because you have to show up, and sometimes you don't feel like doing anything, and sometimes you can say that you don't feel like doing anything, and it's okay to say that. It's okay to articulate that, because guess what? Other people feel like that sometimes too, and that's okay too. And when other people say, I'm really tired today, can you like pick up my slack a little bit? Or like, not pick up my slack, but like, I'll riddle you this. If you're working and a coworker who you generally like they're pretty nice, they're a decently nice human being, says, oh, like tonight I just got invited to like a party or something, like something last minute that's fun came up, but I would have to leave work an hour early to go to it. Will you stay an hour later for me? Do you say yes or no? Because I feel like most nice and genuine people would say yes. Like, given that they had nothing else going on, they would say yes. So another thing I've observed about humans is that other people are very understanding of you just being, of you just living your life, even if it is kind of impulsive and last minute, or even if you didn't do your homework or something. Like, A teacher would so much rather prefer someone who showed up every day than someone who never does their homework, than student that they don't even know because they're never in class. Like, I'm just blabbing at this point. This video has gone on for way too long. I apologize. But I also don't apologize. I'm not sorry for saying how I feel, and I'm not sorry for making future me feel better about procrastinating or just showing up with nothing done, or I don't know. This is just a reminder to future me, a reminder to all of the perfectionists who don't want to show up because they didn't do it perfectly. Like, I think you should still show up, and everyone will understand. And yeah, that's my reflection. Okay, see you next time.